Okay, so are you ready for a deep dive into like this whole world where science meets like steamy romance?
Oh, absolutely.
We're talking about Ali Hazelwood,
Yes.
best-selling author, who's basically living this like double life.
It's wild.
Right.
Yeah,
You ready for this?
let's do it.
Okay, so picture this. You are sitting in neuroscience class, right? You're trying to like ignore those caffeine jitters from that triple shot espresso you had earlier.
No, yeah.
And your professor is secretly writing romance novels that are all over TikTok.
I know, right? And like not just writing them,
Yeah.
topping the bestseller lists.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hazelwood, who writes under a pen name, has taken the romance world by storm.
Wow.
Particularly this genre called STEMinist.
STEMinist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard of this?
I haven't heard of this. What is that?
So it's basically like, think smart, strong female characters who just happen to be scientists, engineers, mathematicians. You get the picture.
Okay.
And the romance isn't just a subplot. It's interwoven with their professional lives, challenging stereotypes along the way.
Oh, I like that. Okay, that does sound way more interesting than your typical lab report.
Right.
So how did Hazelwood even get into this whole writing thing?
Yeah.
Was it like one of those eureka moments in the middle of an experiment or...
You know, it's funny you say that. It actually started with fan fiction.
What?
Yeah, apparently Hazelwood was a huge Star Trek fan.
The cat.
I know, and started writing stories online, even focusing on the original Spock, Leonard Nimoy.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a dedicated Trekkie.
Yeah, so from fan fiction to best-selling author, that is quite a journey.
Yeah, it is.
It really is. But it makes me wonder why the secret identity.
Hmm.
If her books are so popular, why not just embrace both sides of her life?
Yeah, that's a really interesting question, and it touches on a lot of the anxieties that academics, especially women in STEM fields, often face.
Right.
There's still this perception that romance writing isn't as serious as other genres.
And that's just not true.
No.
There's this whole other layer of pressure when you think about potentially being judged by colleagues or even jeopardizing your career.
Exactly, and the article we read highlights how Hazelwood felt that conflict early on.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't that she was ashamed of writing romance.
Yeah.
She clearly loves it.
Of course.
But she was worried about how it would be perceived in academia.
It's a shame that there even has to be that kind of worry, you know?
I agree.
But it also makes her success even more impressive.
It does.
She managed to build a huge following while maintaining this separate identity.
I know, and her background in neuroscience isn't just for show. It really comes through in her writing.
Yeah.
For example, in her book, Love on the Brain, the main characters are scientists working on a NASA project using transcranial magnetic stimulation.
Transcranial magnetic stimulation. Okay, for those of us who haven't pulled an all-nighter cramming for a neuroscience exam, what does that even mean?
So essentially, it's a non-invasive way to stimulate specific areas of the brain using magnetic pulses. It's used to study everything from memory to mood disorders.
Wow, that's pretty high-tech. It's not every day you find a romance novel that also gives you a glimpse into cutting-edge science. Right.
That's so cool.
Exactly.
It's like she's found this like amazing way to blend her two passions,
Right.
even if it's not out in the open.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, like, how many other scientists are out there secretly penning romance novels between experiments?
Right, like maybe more than we realize.
Really?
Yeah, look at the success of other STEMinist novels like Lessons in Chemistry and The Soulmate Equation.
Yep.
These books, like Hazelwood's, tap into this desire for stories that celebrate intelligence and challenge stereotypes.
Mm.
It's not just about the romance, but about strong female characters who are brilliant in their fields.
So it's not just a niche market anymore.
No.
It feels like there's a real appetite for these kinds of stories.
Absolutely. Readers are drawn to characters who are passionate and intellectually curious, both in the lab and in their personal lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's about breaking down those artificial barriers between serious literature and genre fiction.
Right. And let's be real, sometimes those genre fiction books are just what the doctor ordered after a long day.
But, okay, going back to Hazelwood's secret identity. Does she ever worry about being found out? I mean, her books are incredibly popular.
Yeah, that's the thing. She doesn't seem to be actively hiding her identity.
Really?
The article mentions that she hasn't explicitly told her colleagues, but she also acknowledges that it's probably only a matter of time before someone connects the dots.
That's wild.
I know.
Imagine being in her class and then stumbling across her steamy romance novel online. Talk about an awkward moment.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Right.
It definitely adds another layer to the whole conversation about privacy and online identities.
For sure.
We all have these different facets to ourselves,
Right.
and sometimes it's difficult to reconcile those different versions of ourselves.
Especially in the age of social media,
Oh, absolutely.
where everything is out there for the world to see.
Right.
But there's also something kind of empowering about it. It's like she's saying, I can be a respected scientist and write romance novels, and maybe those two worlds aren't so different after all.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It challenges this idea that we have to fit into neat little boxes.
Right.
Hazelwood's story shows that you can be passionate about seemingly disparate things,
Totally.
and those passions can actually enrich and inform each other.
Speaking of enriching, I have to say the article mentioning some of the spicy scenes from her books going viral on TikTok had me intrigued.
Yeah, Hazelwood doesn't shy away from writing about desire and intimacy,
Right.
but she does it with this incredible wit and intelligence.
It's like she's found that sweet spot between brains and, well, other things.
Right, and she doesn't dumb down the science either.
There-
There's this great example in Love on the Brain where the characters are discussing heartbreak.
Mm,
One of them argues that emotions are just transient neurochemical changes, like a defense mechanism.
Okay, that sounds a bit clinical for a romance novel, even if it is accurate.
I know, right?
Uh,
But that's where Hazelwood's skill as a writer comes in.
Okay.
The other character responds with, "What about prairie voles? They pair bond for life."
Prairie voles. Now, those are some romantic rodentses. See, this is what I love about Hazelwood's writing.
I know, right?
She can make even the most complex scientific concepts relatable and even, dare I say, sexy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She understands that science isn't just about cold, hard facts.
Right.
It's about exploring the mysteries of the universe, including the mysteries of the human heart.
Yeah.
And sometimes those mysteries intersect in surprising and delightful ways.
It makes you wonder about all the amazing things people are capable of when they let go of those preconceived notions and just embrace their passions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Hazelwood found her voice in fan fiction, a space often dismissed as frivolous,
Right.
and turned it into a successful career. It's a testament to the power of finding your community and honing your craft no matter where you start.
It's like that saying, write what you know. But in Hazelwood's case, it's more like write what you love, even if it means keeping it a secret for now.
Right. And that air of mystery, that is she or isn't she aspect, probably adds to her allure as an author.
Yeah.
It's like a real-life version of one of her plots.
Totally.
A secret identity, a double life, and the constant tension between two worlds.
It's like we're all part of this big unfolding story.
Right?
Who knows? Maybe someday Hazelwood will feel comfortable enough to fully embrace both sides of her life.
I hope so.
Can you imagine the headline?
Oh my God.
Neuroscientist by day, romance novelist by night.
It would certainly be a powerful statement, wouldn't it?
It
A
would.
testament to the fact that we contain multitudes, that our passions don't have to fit neatly into predetermined boxes.
And hey, maybe it'll inspire others to do the same, to
Yeah.
embrace those hidden talents and passions, even if they seem unconventional.
Totally. It's a reminder that there's always more to discover both in the world and in ourselves.
This whole deep dive has really got me thinking, what are those hidden passions lurking within all of us?
Yeah.
And what would it take to unleash them? That's something to ponder, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It seems Ali Hazelwood's story is not just about romance and neuroscience. It's a story about the power of embracing your authentic self, no matter how many dimensions it may have.
And on that note, we'll leave you with this thought. What fascinating stories are you writing in your own life, even if it's just in the quiet moments between the lines? Until our next deep dive, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep those pages turning.